So we brought you the story of that massive Twitter hack that happened last week where Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, many of the most famous people in the world and most powerful had their Twitter accounts hacked with the posting of a Bitcoin scam saying, hey, I'm actually giving back to the community. Anyway, so send me some Bitcoin and I'll send it back to you double. One of the dumbest scams in human history. Well, the story of that hack is now being reported in the New York Times, and it's fascinating. Some of the people who were even involved in the hack itself are telling the Times about how there was a username with a man named Kirk who was on this board in which people sold each other domain names and usernames with very short letters. And he said, according to one of the hackers who was involved, and they verified this through text messages that were sent in real time and screenshots, that the person who got access to Twitter credentials found a way into Twitter's internal Slack channel and saw the credentials posted there. So that is very significant because it means, A, your system of security is only as secure as the place in which you keep it.
Channel,
as your Slack channel. So, A, wait, Slack channels are getting hacked now, not Twitter, and they just use those credentials in order to go in and manipulate and post all of these things. And it goes to show also why it was so difficult for Twitter to identify the source of the problem, because they were using correct login information. Now, the people who were involved here basically tell the tale of this guy named Kirk, and they helped him a little bit, on the margins, and then they didn't realize what he was going to do. And the moment they saw this, they went to the Times, and they're basically like, we didn't have anything to do with this Bitcoin thing, in a bid, I assume, to stop the FBI from knocking down their doors.
Right, because this is
a huge fraud.
Huge deal. I mean, they paint the picture of, a couple of individuals are kind of messing around, they're joking about this thing, and then it becomes incredibly real when Kirk goes ahead and hacks the accounts of Joe Biden, Barack Obama, Bill Gates. I mean, it's like Jeff Bezos. It was just crazy. But essentially, this Kirk fellow apparently was able to get into this internal Twitter Slack channel. For whatever reason, the credentials were available and posted there. And so then he's just able to log in like it's all normal, like as if he is an internal Twitter employee. Is one of the things that Twitter is trying to track down, and Twitter is apparently still doing their own internal investigation to figure out exactly what happened here. One of the things that they couldn't figure out is whether the hackers were aided by someone within the organization. And I'm not sure that piece has been totally settled here.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? Somebody maybe gave him a login to a Slack channel.
To the Slack channel, and then he went from there. We don't really know at this point, but it's the thing that's crazy about it is that this is such a massive security breach. They could have accessed anyone's accounts. They could have, potentially looked at direct messages. We don't know whether they were able to access that level of information, but that it was sort of such a basic approach of just being able to get in the Slack channel and then go from there is crazy.
Yeah, it's just amazing to see. I'm looking, you can read some of these messages. It looks like kids just screwing around until it becomes real. And that's how one of these hacking stories are. And, this person, whoever Kirk is, you're facing a long time in federal prison, my friend, because of some of the things, financial fraud, corporate secrets, and so much more. And so the people who were involved in this basically went to the Times and they were like, hey, look, had nothing to do with these major hacks. They're like, we helped him around, screw around with some earlier attacks on Wednesday, but the next day had no idea what he was doing whatsoever. So the internal story told by the hackers themselves, encourage everybody to go read it if you're interested in this sort of thing. It's really interesting.
Yeah, they're definitely freaking out right now, as they should be.
As they should.
All right, more Rising for you after this.